Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in. You're listening to the Raise Your Own Bar podcast. My name is Tamara Bucky, and with me today, I have the exciting opportunity to interview someone that I've known for over 2 decades. In a way, he's like my pseudo brother in law because I've just known his family for so long. He is a master sergeant in the United States Air Force that has had an amazing career for almost 2 decades now. He's inching towards retirement. He is in security forces and he has 3 deployments under his belt. He also has a bachelor's degree in business with an associate's in criminal justice. And he recently got Senior NCO of the Year back to back for both 2023 and 2024. Please welcome Josh Allen.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here, and it's always good to see you again.
Yeah, welcome, Josh. Man, it is awesome to see you. I haven't talked to you for ages, but of course, I see you on the gram and on the Facebooks, and I just can't help but think, wow, I got to get you on the podcast to talk about how you're crushing it at life.
Oh yeah, well, you talk about crushing it. I love the Raise Your Bar brand, the stuff that you put out. I follow you, and I see the motivational quotes that you put out and talk about in your life coaching, and I try to bring some of that to my work center as well.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That is amazing. And, being an entrepreneur is not for the weak. That is for sure. But I feel like I just have this drive in my heart. Like, this is my mission. I have to help people raise the bar in life in whatever area that is for them. So glad to know that you are out there spreading it around. And if I can ever, come down and speak, come over, I don't know what direction, I would be glad to. But enough about me. Tell me, first of all, about your NCO of the Year award again in 2024. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, thank you. So I'll start by saying that nobody gets anywhere without a support structure. I think that one of the big pushes that I try to tell people is your team gets you rewarded, and any leader out there I think can agree that they might be setting the direction. I like to use a lot of metaphors in my mentorship and when I talk to other people. And one of the big ones I kind of keep going back to is like an old pirate ship, right? So the pirate captain, he's out there telling which direction to go, but he's not actually steering the ship. And everyone's got a job to do, but at the end of the day, if you get the treasure, the pirate captain gets the glory, but everybody shares in the loot.
I like that. I like that. We won't talk about the scurvy or the walking the plank that might happen along that journey, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, not everybody gets to finish the trip. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's reality too. I mean, with any kind of mission, not everybody's going to make it. And, people are different. And it really, I've just seen over my life, what really matters is your stick to itiveness. And I know that's not a real word, but I love it. I had an old boss that would say it. It's your grit to keep moving forward when things get tough. That really is going to depend on your upbringing, your drive, your discipline, the way you believe in yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I think in the military, we get a lot of people that are coming from nothing or even from bad places, and they're either seeking to start something or improve upon something. And the number one quality that I've seen that makes them successful in that environment is kind of like what you said, that grit, that drive to weather and get through it together. Um, I think everybody knows that military service is not a joke, and it can be difficult. But I think that the military can be a microcosm of society, and I don't think that pulling punches on saying that everybody has to get up every day and choose to do better than they did yesterday uh, is short of the truth. Whether you have no military experience, or if you're just woken up and you're 32 years old and you're like, you know what, I'm ready to start my new life and my new chapter, and get through the obstacles, that's what's going to make people successful.
Yeah. I really can't help but think it all comes down to one of my favorite quotes by Henry Ford: whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have some blocks where I will trick myself into believing that I can't do something, and it genuinely is true for me. And the same is, on the other side. So knowing what you're telling yourself, especially in your subconscious, is so important so that you can start changing that narrative. We all have that narrative in our head that runs throughout the day in the background. What is yours saying? You've got to make sure it's programmed to give you a good message.
Hmm. Yeah, you said something recently on your Facebook page, and you were quoting basically. It said, if you see if you're looking for the way and you can't find it, you'll either find the way or you'll find an excuse. Essentially, paraphrasing there.
Yeah.
And I think that's 100%. There's so many times that I am dealing with a different situation at work, and the problem always comes from, well, we can't do it because, right? And if you're only focused on the problem, then it's going to really limit your ability to see a solution.
Oh yeah. And if you just immediately say it can't be done, then it's like, oh, okay. Well, then I guess we should just accept it as is and never complain about it again, because it sounds to me like we can't change it. So the only other option is to accept it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we all kind of fall into the bad habit of wanting to press the easy button.
Mm.
And I think with a little bit of training and technique and some motivation, and it has to be constant. We start to realize that the easy button is sometimes doing more damage than the problem itself is.
Yeah, the easy button ends up costing you like way more in the long run most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a good metaphor right there too, because it's just like if you ever thought, oh, I know a shortcut to something, whatever that might be, a route you're taking or a job you're doing. um, 90% of the time that shortcut ends up causing you more harm and more time and possibly more money and stuff in the long run. Like, I just find it to be true for the most part.
Yeah, they call it a shortcut for a reason, right? Because you're cutting across, and it's not the way. If it was the way, it would be called the way, right? So
Mm.
you're gonna sacrifice something by taking a shortcut, whether that's integrity, efficiency, final product performance. When you take shortcuts, you are cutting something out of it, out of the right product that you want. Um, for me, I try to tell my guys and girls and everybody that you want to do it the right way every time. Because when you do it the right way every time, then you can't be challenged on the way that you did it. You know, some of the tasks that from an entry level employee all the way up to the CEO have to do can be mundane. They can be repetitive, and they can be hard. They can be complex. But doing it the right way is the only way that you can really extrapolate good data from it, right? If you're not doing it the way it's supposed to be done, how are you supposed to gauge whether the way it's supposed to be done is successful? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did you follow the process? No. Well, did the process fail, or did you fail to follow the process? That's what failure is in a lot of cases. And I get it. Everybody wants to do things faster. We're pushed. We have these deadlines. We have pressures. Um, we have stress, but you can't sacrifice quality or safety or efficiency. Because ultimately, then that's going to lead to failure.
Yeah, one of the things that I was kind of drawn to the Air Force is one of their core values was integrity first. And you know, when I started out my adult life, I didn't have a lot of immediate open options, but I knew that whatever I did, I wanted to be true to myself and I wanted to do a good job, right? I put a lot of stock and value into the performance that I was going to put out because the reputation and the name meant a lot to me. I didn't have anything, but I had a reputation to my name, and I wanted that to have value. So the integrity portion was a big boon for me to see. Oh, as long as I'm doing it the right way, like I'll be recognized and rewarded. And that's kind of stuck with me over the years. Luckily, the values haven't changed as long as I've been in. And you know, to this day, I think that even if you're not number one, even if you're number two, number three, or if you're last place, you can always lean back on the integrity piece. Like I was true to myself and I did it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not every trophy comes in gold, right? Sometimes that trophy is a lesson learned. Um, Sometimes that trophy is just growth and development. One step forward is worth more than 1,000 days of being still.
Yeah. And the idea is you don't learn by getting it right every time. Like you have to make mistakes. You have to have a bump in the road and a challenge before you can really grow. So as long as you're doing your best and consistently, trying the hardest you can and following the book, if there is a book. Of course, there's some tasks you might be handed and some missions that come up that have never been done before. And when that happens, you have to rely on your critical thinking skills and your leadership skills and your problem solving skills to do the best you can. But if you have integrity and you have these skill sets to fall back on, you'll be able to figure it out most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, new products are so stressful and new programs are so stressful because, there's a lot of variables that people are afraid of, right? They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of not doing a good job or the product not working. But to me, when you hand me an opportunity to do something new, I find it pretty exciting because it's like, hey, even if I hand you a terrible product, it's new. Nobody else has done it before, right? And so that it's rare that you really get an opportunity to do something new and break through, and getting to spread your wings and be creative. I think it's important to give yourself those challenges, because if we're all just sitting inside of a box getting told what to do, are you really growing?
Yeah. No, I don't think you are, or unless you're taking it upon yourself to grow elsewhere. And ideally, we all want to work somewhere where we can grow in our careers and in our whatever that job might be, whatever we're pursuing. For me, entrepreneurship, I'm still finding my way and trying different things and trying to figure out what do I really want. And it's something that I'm still not 100% sure of. Like I know I want to get paid to speak. I know that I want to get paid to help people solve problems and better themselves. But I could just do that in so many different ways that I'm still trying to find like what is my focus.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the good thing is I keep trying things, and it's all about the experiences, right? So by trying things, I've found a few things that I don't want to do, and I wouldn't have known if I hadn't tried it, right? Like I did radio for a year. I didn't love it. I enjoyed talking to people and interviewing people, but I didn't love doing radio. And so now I've segued that into a podcast, which I enjoy. So just as a prime example, by learning, otherwise I would have always wondered, what if I might be great for the radio. Now I know it's not really for me.
Yeah, you got to know yourself, right? And failure, and um, even not failure, just doing something like you said that maybe you don't enjoy doing. You know more about yourself, then you'll be more successful in the things. And when you find that thing that you absolutely love, you're going to be able to commit to it fully.
Yeah. And for you, that is serving your country and dedicating yourself to your family and trying to be a good example for everyone that is under your wing or in your orbit, and that is highly commendable. How many people are you leading these days?
Uh, I just finished up leading about 65-man team. I'm leading about 8 personnel now on my new team. So a little
Nice.
bit of a jump from the number of personnel, but uh, each team size kind of comes with its own unique benefits and challenges, right? So 65 people, not a lot of time to invest in every single person, but you got to give them those golden nuggets whenever you do bump shoulders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got 8 people. It's obviously a lot less, a lot more time to invest. Um, so maybe more information, but you still got to make sure that they're comprehending and processing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you'll have more time to focus individually on people. And according to um, some research I read years ago, an 8-person team was ideal for communication. So anything larger than that, and then it gets tougher to get everybody on the same page. So that sounds like that might be fun.
I'm hoping so. I got a good team now. I'm still getting to know them. My old team was awesome too, and the military. Obviously, we think military. We think chain of command, and big scary uniforms and guns and everything. But to me, they're all just people, with lives and hopes and dreams. And one of the things I really like about the military is it's very clear on structure and the way that things should be communicated. Obviously, the execution of which may not always be perfect,
Yeah.
but that's something that I'm terrible at remembering everything all the time. So I bring in at my level, we kind of start to be taught talent management, right? Like who's the person that needs to be in this seat, and who's the person that needs to be in that job or that program, and we start putting people where they need to be based off their talents and their predispositions. And that was new to me, before, 10 years ago, it was just, you're going to do what we tell you to do, and, you're going to grow from it. And, as I've kind of moved up the ladder a bit, it's nice to see that that wasn't the case at all. It was senior leaders being like, hey, this person needs development in communication. So we're going to put him in a job where he has to talk to a lot of people.
Hmm.
And might be another scenario where, he's talked to too many people. Like he's good on communication. So now we need to put him in a job where he's writing regulations. And so now he needs to learn the technical aspect of the job a little bit more. So to me, not seeing behind the wall, uh, to getting to see behind the wall was a big eye opener, and it taught me a big lesson, which was kind of trust your leaders. Um, I tell them, I tell my team, a lot of my junior leaders now that are kind of try to train the guys that are right underneath me. Hey, trust that nobody comes to work trying to do a bad job, right? Your boss's boss, the CEO of the company, nobody goes to work trying to do a bad job. They all have good intentions, and you want to support your leaders, because at some point you're going to be that leader who has a good intention and wants to do a good job, but it might not just work out. So, how do you want your employees to support you? And if that's how you want them to support you, then that's how you need to support your boss.
Yeah. And the idea that everybody is different. So every leader is going to have a different style and different expectations. And the quicker that you can find out what those expectations are and know what they really care about, the better off you'll be to be able to be successful in that role. And so I always encourage people to do, like, if they get a new manager, to do kind of like an interview of them and figure out, like, what does right look like to them? What does success look like to them? How do they prefer to communicate? Like, I have a sheet that's like a cheat sheet guide you can kind of use to guide the conversation. And it really helps because then you kind of, all you need to figure out is what motivates them. And for some people, it's being right. For some people, it's getting attention. For some people, it's getting a promotion. That everybody wants something. If you can make your goals aligned with theirs and help them get what they want, they'll support you till the ends of the earth. But you have to support them just as much.
Yeah, absolutely. The different motivators are so important to be identified for leaders. Um, I was literally, it's funny you say that. I was just telling one of my tech sergeants that the other day that, for a lot of junior level employees and stuff, the reward that they want is time off. So you need to find a way to structure the work to maximize their time off. Um, and then as they buy into the corporation or the company more, that motivator might change to promotion or recognition. But if you're misaligning what you're trying to give them, um, they're going to fall off the ladder, right? They're going to fall off because if you have a hard worker that wants to be recognized, but you're giving them more time off, they're going to see it as, well, maybe they don't need me as much, or maybe I'm not doing enough. So 100%, you got to find the motivators. And there are definitely 1,000 styles of leadership. 100%. It's wild how many different ways that people can lead and still kind of end up in the same general area. Um, and to me, the big part about when you have a new leader is the key holders to the kingdom, right? If you get a new king, the king is going to have a vision for what he wants the kingdom to look like, but he's got to
Yep.
get the military, the diplomatic, the economic leaders, all the key holders to the kingdom have to align with the vision of the king. And so that's if you're a new leader, that's where you should start first. Who are the key holders to your kingdom? And see what they need and align their motivators and get them on your vision together.
Yeah, I love that. And I always think about the love languages. Are you familiar with the 5 love languages?
I am, yeah. Me and the wife, we did uh, we did the program a while ago, and it was pretty interesting. I think that it's a cool program. Personally, um, I'm a person that likes acts of service, and I think that frustrates my wife to no end because I'm always asking her to do things. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool survey that you can find.
So the general idea that different people want to have receive affection and love in different ways. The same applies to your troops or like to your team. So everybody on your team, like there are some people that want to be praised publicly. There are some people that can't stand being praised publicly. Some people want that recognition. Some people want words of affirmation. Some people like gifts, like give them swag with the company logo or whatever. But the same concepts apply to other people in your life, because your team in a way is like your family, right? They're your work family, so to speak. And so you have to figure out, just like you would with your home family, like how do they like to be praised, how do they like to be communicated with, what makes them happy, what makes them frustrated. And it's all about building relationships genuinely.
Yeah, well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, right? It's relationships. We're not robots in the workplace. Wherever you're at is going to have a culture, and that culture involves people. Um, One of my mentors said, "We don't deal with programs; we deal with people." Right? We run programs, but we deal with people. And if we if we were just programs, then we would just follow the checklist and everything would be perfect, right? But we're not, because we're people, and somebody has a baby or gets sick or is just having a mental health day or self-care day, whatever it is not going to be optimal for business by the letter of the program, but it is going to be optimal long term in the aggregate because you're taking care of the people that are doing the work. And you have to
Absolutely.
have a professional work environment, but that doesn't mean that you have to be a robot, right? Because people, it's the old quote. It's like people don't care what you have to say until they know that you care.
Absolutely. I know you're an Air Force guy. I worked for the Army for many years, and they have this little HUA acronym that they use. And when I first heard it, and somebody explained to me that it supposedly means heard, understood, acknowledged,
Hmm.
I liked that and I thought it was really useful. And then I kind of like apply it to life because everyone just wants to be heard, understood, and acknowledged. And so if you can just give that at a minimum to every single person that you talk to, make them feel heard, make them feel like you understand and acknowledge them as a human being, that's the starting point to a great relationship and great communication.
Yeah, we. It's funny you said that. In my career field, we say "huh" all the time for everything. It means yes,
Yep.
affirmations.
I
Um,
agree. Amen. Yeah, you use it for all of these different,
everything,
yeah.
everything. But yeah, heard, understood, acknowledged. Absolutely. It's you know, I think it originated with like radio traffic, kind of shortening the message. But
That would make
if you're
sense.
yeah, if you're a leader and you're walking down the hallway and you're giving out the "How was your day? It was good," and you keep moving, like that's just a you know it's a cordial hello. I'm too busy for you, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'll tell you another one I like is uh, I stopped saying, "Do you need anything?" Because when people ask me that, I'm an independent person. I don't like to ask for help. And
Yep.
so I know if my boss or anybody asks me, "Do you need anything?" Absolutely not. I got this. Right. So what I changed that to is, "How can I help you?" Right. And so now the responsibility, the independence, and the onus is still with the person I'm asking. So they get to keep that, independence and maturity and that ownership, and I'm contributing to their success. I'm not stealing their success, right? So if I see anybody in the hallway, I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? How's your day?" And then speak on what they say. Don't just follow up with a second question because that tells them that you're not listening. And then ask them, "How can I help you?" And then follow up.
Yeah, I like that. I read in a book somewhere the phrase, "What can I do to make your life easier?" And I like that notion. I've used to be a supervisor. I now just work for myself. So if I ever get to the point where I have employees under me, I'm going to adopt that because giving them something to think about. What could I do to make your life easier? If they don't need anything, they'll just crack a joke or something, or they'll just tell you nothing. But if they genuinely have a barrier, this is an opportunity to see if you can help remove it or brainstorm with them on ways that they can remove it themselves. Because a lot of times I find people just need to talk things out. It's not even really that they need help per se. They kind of just need to vent a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you're going to get a lot of, "I need more money."
Yeah. The day off. Yeah. Independent wealth. Oh, that's
Right.
me. If I had independent wealth, I would probably still be doing the same thing, really, though, because I really am driven by something else that's outside of me.
I think you would. There's a there's a theory that if you gave everybody in the world $1 billion, then in a year everybody who's currently rich will still be rich, and everybody who's currently poor will still be poor, because it's not the money that solves the problem, right? It's the person. And so if you don't change and grow and develop, you're not going to be any different, right? That one hit hard for me when I was younger, because I realized, like, when I get to where I'm comfortable, is that going to be enough? When I finally get to a position where I'm not worried about surviving, is that going to be enough? And as I got closer to it, the answer got louder and louder. And the answer was no. I want more than just to survive. I want to excel. I want to succeed. I want to build something bigger than um, the bare minimum. And I want to see how far I can go.
Amen to that. You got to shoot for the stars, right? If you don't, when it comes to raising your own bar, we get a lot of bars given to us from our parents and from society. And, the worst things that we can do is to set the bar so low that we achieve it and then do nothing else. So I always think we need to set the bar as high as possible, even if we don't quite make it to that. If it's like so crazy, like maybe if you want to be the NBA star of basketball, if you want to be an Olympic gymnast, set the bar that high, because even if you don't make it there, you'll get closer than if you just said, if you just set the bar very, very low.
The standard that you accept is the standard you will get. Yeah, you standards, discipline, they kind of all play into each other, right? And you're absolutely right. If your bar is, I just need to do the bare minimum, you're going to aggregate around the bare minimum, which means some days you're going to fall short, some days you're going to fall over, but that's what you're shooting at. So if you're not shooting for excellence, then you're not going to be anywhere near excellence.
Absolutely. It's amazing how many people haven't had these things instilled in them, which is why, I'm doing my part to try to help people and educate and just motivate people. I was blessed to have people in my life when I was younger. Even though I had a very tumultuous childhood, it was all over the place. My mom was a teenager. Um, she became a single mom, and I still had people in my life, like my grandpa, who told me, don't walk by a mistake. If you can't fix it, at least notify someone who can, and have integrity. Do the right thing even when nobody's around. Like those are simple truths that I learned at a young age, thank God. Other people maybe didn't have somebody to tell them that, and they're still waiting to be taught.
Hmm. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I definitely don't think that any of us are able to fix society and make everything perfect. I think we all have to do our role in getting those messages spread out, right? I was fortunate to have a bunch of mentors when I was growing up to kind of give me little nuggets here and there, and I kind of held on to them like my little treasures. And then as I got to a position where I had so many treasures in my hand, I was like, what am I doing hoarding all of this? You know, it's not going to do me any good if you have knowledge but don't share it, right? Um, so that's when I started about 6 years ago. I started realizing, hey, you got to give this stuff out. You're not going to be here forever, and your team is going to be better. And started realizing that there's such a good feeling of not just personal development, but developing others to be better themselves. And honestly, that's where a big part of my passion came from, is developing others and getting people to be successful, and see their dreams kind of come true. And when we all reach the finish line, I want people to be there that I had a positive impact on. And part of the reason why I decided to do 20 years in the Air Force was just the wide scope of impact that I had. People from all over the country, people from all different backgrounds, and they all get to hear me come up and give them my little gold nugget of mentorship. And some of them will be like, "Ah, that's dumb," and some of them will be like, "Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's go." Right? But I try not to take myself too seriously. Again, I use a lot of metaphors because I'm not that smart, uh, and I joke a lot, big joker at work, and I think that it's been pretty successful to me to just really care about people and give them, even if it's one little nugget, they'll take that and they'll run with it. People are thirsty for mentorship. They're thirsty for development. So,
Yeah.
this podcast, you might catch somebody um, just surfing and looking for something to catch on to. And, if you catch one person and you make a difference in one person's life, I think it's worth it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've been thankful with the people I've had on the podcast so far, and the few listeners that I have so far. And every week more people are listening and joining to follow my Substack and things like that. So it's exciting, and it's just in its infancy stages. But I know that it's going to grow into something fantastic, and I just have to continue working at it, just like anything else. Just keep showing up, keep doing the reps. I don't have a set or anything now. I do all of my calls over Zoom. But one day I'll have a studio. One day I'll grow into a bigger platform, and you got to start somewhere. And I have been blessed to have started over a few times in a few different areas of my life, so I trust that process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you definitely know the steps to succeed, and the execution sometimes takes time, and you got to have faith in the process and be patient. Um, and like you said, your bar is so high, and it can be very daunting and frustrating to aim that high when you just want to hit the easy button, right? And be like, oh, I've got enough now, or oh, I'm successful right here. I did a good podcast. Like I can move on to the next thing. But you have to be patient. You have to give it time. And I think your listeners, they know that, right? They see you growing. They see you being committed to helping others raise their own bar. And hopefully they see the genuine care there, because I know you genuinely do care, and I think you'll be successful.
Well, and the good thing is it's up to me to define success, as it is for each of us. It's personal. Um, I've had multiple successful careers throughout my life, walked away from a lot of money to do something completely different, starting over. And there's a fear of failure, but also there's a fear of success. Because if I'm successful, then you have to continue growing into it. And, you know, it's something I'm obviously still working through, but it's up to me to define. And it's the journey. Honestly, it's not even about the destination. It never is. And I've figured that out finally. um I think it's really about the experiences that we have along the way, not about where we end up.
Yeah. So I sometimes have anxiety, and one of the things that helps me with anxiety is I ask myself the same question my anxiety asks me, which is what if, right? My anxiety says, what if something goes wrong? And the way that I fight it is says, what if it goes great? What if it's beyond my wildest dreams successful, right?
Yeah.
So, what if you end up on a billboard, right, in Times Square, and they're like, listen to the number one podcast, right? So, I think that, yeah, absolutely, we should define success for ourselves. But at the same time, man, we gotta we got to keep that motivation of, hey, what if this blows up and is super successful, right? What's the
Yeah.
next step, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes that means different. Sometimes it means, like you said, growing into it. And any road you go down means you can't go down another road without leaving that one or changing the route. So knowing yourself and defining what success looks like is going to help anybody navigate. Hey, if this works out, what's the next stop on the road? What's the next process that we want to go to?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got about a year left. What's going to be next for you?
Right now, I am still coming to work and jobbing it, and we're kind of seeing how um, competition goes at my level, right? We like to, I kind of walk around and like, oh, I'm not trying to make promotion, just trying to do a good job. I think we all don't want to be like, oh, I want to get promoted, but I would love to be selected. But I think that one of the things that the Air Force does well is you get selected for promotion by taking care of people. So luckily, that's what I love doing. So I'm going to keep doing that. Uh, at some point in the future, I am going to become a financial advisor and health and life insurance. Um, Brandon, my brother, uh, he has a financial firm and a health insurance firm that he started in Tennessee, and now he's in Mississippi. And I will work with him, and we will crunch numbers together like you did for a long time, and still get that face-to-face interaction. And I'm kind of looking forward to that next chapter at some point, but I don't think it's right now.
Okay. So you're not necessarily going to retire at 20 years, but you'll see how things pan out for the next few, and if anything, you have the option.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that I tell people don't burn bridges, right, until you're ready to cross them. And there's so much time. I mean, life in the military and life in general is, this month I might be, oh, absolutely, I'm ready to go, and then the next month is, I can't go anywhere, right? I've got to stay here, um, for good reasons. I'm loving it here. They need me here. I want to be here. So when it's time to go, I'll know, and I think that that's going to be a big part of feedback from my mentors and my team and my family. And you know, luckily, my wife has been very supportive. My family's very supportive of the challenges that my career has brought. Um, and when the time's ready, I'm ready to invest back into them as well.
Wow, it sounds like you've got a nice plan lined up for yourself that you can pull the trigger on sometime in the future, but no, nothing set in stone, which I like because I like having options. Options make you feel more free and more in control.
Yeah, they definitely do. You don't want to be vectored somewhere you don't want to go.
Yeah, nobody likes to be in a situation where they feel desperate or forced to take a choice that they wouldn't normally make. So, kudos to you for thinking far out and having that plan. And I know there's a lot of success with financial advising and healthcare insurance and things of that nature. That's not what I would have thought for you, though. That'll be interesting. Is it just because you feel? I obviously, for those of our listeners that don't know you, Brandon is his twin brother who also served in the Air Force, but decided not to make a full career out of it, and he's been doing insurance and whatnot for quite a few years, maybe a decade by now, huh?
Yeah, I think it's about around 12 years now that he's been doing financial management and the health and life on the side. He actually did a veteran transition program when he separated into financial management, I believe, with Edward Jones.
That
And
sounds right.
and then after he completed that program. He kind of went off into an independent firm, and after he was successful there, he decided that he wanted to kind of step out into a different area and create his own firm. Yeah, for me, it's really definitely supporting the brother, right? Supporting the family. Um, Legacy is a big thing for Brandon and I. We want to build something for our families and to give to the next few generations so that they're kind of set up. But also, he gets to do all the hard stuff, right? He gets to crunch all the numbers. I'm going to be primarily focusing on making sure that the agents and the clients are happy, and trying to teach the teams and mentor the teams to be successful. So in a way, I'll kind of still be doing what I'm doing now, just in on the golf course, hopefully.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds way more chill.
That's the plan. Maybe I'll do a third or fourth uh, program. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. It's exciting, right?
It is. I mean, the future is what we make it. And I know there's a lot of uncertainties and things that could go wrong that are out of our control, but it's important to have goals and have things that you look forward to and have that vision. I think vision is so, so important because how do you know when you reach success if you didn't decide what success looks like for you? So it sounds like you have that picture painted and I absolutely love that.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, the 5 year, 10 year, 20 year goals. Those are all kind of techniques that we teach our supervisors and stuff, and keeping them realistic, definable, attainable, reasonable. Those goals and different mile markers along the route. I still practice a lot of what I've learned in different leadership schools in my personal life because I mean they work, right? If it
Yeah.
works,
Absolutely. Having that structure, it makes it easier for you, and that's the one thing I really enjoyed, not the one of many things I really enjoyed about working for the Army is you have that structure. So they tell you at this point, this is the day you have to have your goals written down and somebody's going to look at them and say these make sense or they don't make sense. And they'll tell you, make them smart where you can follow that structure that also already exists to make your goals more achievable, and then check in once a quarter. How you doing on your goals? What's the progress that you've made on your goals? Having that structure builds in accountability.
mm-hmm. I definitely like the part where you mentioned checking in, right? Holding each other accountable to the goals, right? And
Yeah.
your inner circle, you need an inner circle that will do that for you, right? I had good mentors that I told them, hey, I want to do X, Y, Z, and one of them at the time was get a bachelor's degree. Every month, my supervisor would come and be like, hey, you signed up for classes? Have you signed up? How's the college going, right? And it became invasive leadership, right? You get involved um, and holding me accountable to the goal that I wanted. And it was uncomfortable at times, but at the end of the road, I was like, hey, thank you so much for keeping on me and keeping me focused on the goal that I set. Right? You're like, hey, well, if I set the goal, I should be able to do it at my leisure. But it sometimes takes other people to keep your engine running, right? Keep the gas flowing.
I
That's
love
why
that.
a circle is so important. A good circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Mentor relationships cannot be understated, and I've had so many good ones in my life, formal and informal or informal. And now I get to mentor other people, and it's really important, and that's what it's all about, right? Sharing the knowledge, sharing the love, sharing the encouragement, and helping others figure out whatever it is for them. So Glad to hear that you're out here doing all these amazing things, Josh. This has been an awesome conversation. Before we wrap, is there any piece of advice that you would like to just generically give to anyone who wants to possibly join the Air Force?
If you want to join the Air Force, I would say that my biggest piece of advice is, uh, we say thank you for your service a lot, and it is just that, right? So, joining the military is a service to the nation, and you will get a lot of benefits out of it, and you will have an amazing time. But it is a challenging career, and it is a service. So when you come there, um, bring a service to the nation, and we'll service you.
Great advice. All right. Well, Josh, anywhere you want to share where people can like learn more about you or connect with you or anything? I don't know how you are on social media these days.
I am on Instagram. I can send you the links after the
Are you on
podcast.
LinkedIn as well?
I am on LinkedIn. Yep, I sure am. Service Highlands Insurance is the um, insurance group that my brother and I are working on right now. So he's obviously in charge of it, and I'm helping him out with that. But if you're looking for any of that career field stuff, you can go there. If you are looking for military information, I would say the best person to call would be the local recruiter.
Yeah. And I know that they're always looking for, new people and the next generation to step up and lead. So, I know a lot of good people in the Air Force, and I've been around it almost my entire life. So definitely an admirable thing to do with your life if you're not sure. College doesn't have to be the only way. There are other ways to grow and to build your life. And of course, you can still do college, and you can probably get it paid for by the military, which is really nice.
It is, yes.
All right, Josh. Well, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I appreciate you. Have a good night.